This is video 7 of a series of 28 videos of detail on a 2019 Mini Cooper Clubman. In this video, we'll look at using IronX to remove the iron fallout from the body. Right now I'm just using my hand just to feel how much iron fallout is on the body. Even the glass, sometimes there'll be iron fallout on the glass, so you can use iron fallout remover or clay. And before I use IronX, I'm just giving the body just a quick wipe with a DHydrate towel just to remove a majority of the water that's on there. The IronX is actually quite a concentrated formula, so even if there's a little bit of water on the panel, it's still quite effective compared to a lot of iron fallout removers on the market. So because this is a cool day, I'm basically doing the roof and the bonnet all at once. Spray it on. You gotta give it time to work, 2 or 3 minutes. And after you've let it work for 2 or 3 minutes, take a short pile of microfiber and just kind of spread it. It does a couple things. One, there's a lot of cleaning power in IronX, so this will help clean even further. But at the same time, IronX, the chemicals inside basically oxidize the part of the metal that is stuck on the paint. But once that's oxidized or removed, then the iron becomes slightly more easier to remove. So some of the iron you can remove just by wiping the panel. Anything that's left after that, it's likely you will need a clay bar to remove. Here with these latex gloves or with these thin type gloves, you can feel iron contaminants. It makes your hand more sensitive. So strongly recommend using gloves whenever you use chemicals. Okay, so here I'm just kind of doing 2 things at once. I'm feeling the panel to see how much iron fallout is on the body. And at the same time, I'm just kind of spreading the chemical evenly on the panel. Like I said, there's a lot of cleaning power in it, and if you didn't catch a spot with the spray, you can easily just spread it out. And because this is a black car, it's not quite as easy to see how much iron fallout is being removed. But once you rinse it off, you get an idea. The purple bleeding, as they call it, that comes off the body. When I detail a black car, I always use my hand to feel how much fallout is still on the vehicle. Using your hand to wipe the panel, it's not as aggressive as you think with IronX. IronX has a lot of friction in it, so there's not a lot of risk of scratching the paint. If it's bare paint, then you definitely don't want to wipe your hand on the panel. As you can tell, the behavior of the water changed quite a lot. It's more of a hydrophilic water behavior now. That means the panel is getting quite clean. And the rear of the car here is one of the worst areas for iron contamination. Brake dust and whatnot comes off the wheels, and the wind of drag brings it back on the rear of the car. So this is usually quite a heavily contaminated area. So it really depends on where your vehicle is or where the customer's vehicle is, where you want to focus the time on to remove iron contamination. If the vehicle is near railroad, it's more likely that there's a lot of rail dust on the top part of the vehicle. Typically, if the fallout is from the car itself, it's going to be on the lower part of the car, behind the wheels, and on the rear, like this rear bumper. Giving the chemical lots of time to work, 2 to 3 minutes. It's quite a concentrated formula. That's really safe. You can use this on chrome, all paints, wheels. Here I'm using a white cloth just to kind of get an idea of how much contamination is coming off. And give it a check with my hand, feeling for any larger pieces of iron fallout. Maybe at this point you may decide whether to use a clay bar next or not. If you don't plan on polishing the car, strongly advise not to use a clay bar. So after this, you'll see I use a clay bar, and during this process it just gives me an idea how much I'm going to have to use the clay bar. Any areas specifically that are going to need more attention with the clay bar and whatnot. So just giving it a good feel over and getting an idea how much contamination is on the vehicle. As you can see on the concrete, iron fallout has done its job. There's lots of purple coming off. And this is not that old of a car, right? It's about 6 months old, so it's more maybe iron fallout than you might imagine. So here I'm using the CARPRO clay bar. You want to flatten it out. And if it's used, you want to really mix it around and get a clean spot. The trick with using a clay bar is you don't want to use a lot of pressure. You want to use speed. And in some cases, if the iron contaminant won't free from the paint, you can change the direction of your plane. And as a lubricant, I'm using IronX. Lots of lubrication in IronX. And you want to use chemical resistant clay bar when you do this. So lots of speed, kind of back and forth action. Not too much pressure. Just want to knock it loose from the panel. And once you have finished playing, give it a good rinse. Majority of the chemical off. Onto the bonnet. So again, just using speed, no pressure. If you can't flip your wrist back and forth like that, chances are you're putting too much pressure onto the panel. And sometimes you want to give the body a check with your hand, especially with black. If it's white, it's a lot easier to see because the chemical will react with the iron fallout and turn purple. There are two kinds of IronX. The one I'm using in the video is IronX Lemon Smell. It's kind of got the original smell. It's a little bit of a bad smell for some people, perm chemical. And the other type is a new formula, and basically it's got little to no smell. It's more of a cherry smell than anything. Both are very effective. A lot less, more powerful smell than a lot of the fallout removers on the market. So again, after playing with IronX, rinsing the panel, and you can see the panel is completely hydrophilic now. Contamination is all gone. And as I mentioned before, IronX is a very good cleaner. So using it in combination with a clay bar, you're thoroughly cleaning the panel. Of course, you can use this clay bar without using so much chemicals, but the more contamination that is on the panel when you use a clay bar, the more risk you have of damaging and scratching the panel. So I like to remove as much as possible with chemicals first before using the clay bar. And again, if you're not planning on polishing the paint, strongly recommend not using a clay bar. And that's removing iron fallout. In the next video, we'll look at removing the chemical with a wash before putting it inside the studio.